Alright, I'm going to continue on with some figure drawing stuff. Just a quick recap. In our practice drawings before, I'm showing how, quite simply, the stick figure is really an inaccurate abbreviation. And so we started building from there, of which we figured out that we can create an armature based on the spine, shoulders, and hips, and then adding the extremities afterwards. Because if you could find the shoulders, you could find out where the arms are. And if you could find where the hips are, you'd know exactly how you could set up your legs. I'll give you an educated idea. Then we added thickness simply with balloons initially, so you can see thickness and figure. And then over here, you can see we turn those balloons more or less into cylinders, so you can see the tilt of cylinders. So I'm going to move on to some additional work, taking the cylinders and now covering them with the illusion of clothes. So I'm going to start one from the beginning here, just so you can kind of see. There's my shoulders, there's my spine. I'm going to draw a reclining figure. Here's the hips. I'm going to set up the arm so it looks like it's resting on something, and I'll set the other arm up as well. Again, if I can find the shoulder, I can find the elbow, which means I can find the wrist. Same thing here. On the next leg, as long as I know where one of the hips is, I can set up from hip to knee, knee to ankle. Here, hip to knee, knee to ankle. And I have some sort of reclining figure. If I start adding some semblance of thickness, I'll go from shoulders to hips. And then I'll start figuring out some of the cylinders for the rest of the body. Here, I'm going to see the closed end of the cylinder and the open end of the cylinder over here for this arm. And then I'm going to take the closed end of the cylinder and put it by the elbow and then aim it towards the wrist. And then I'll do something similar for the other arm. Again, open end of the cylinder to the closed end, open end to the closed end. And I'll do something similar for the legs. So again, I'll add the thickness of the legs on the inside between them as opposed to laying it directly on top. So maybe here's one cylinder for the upper leg, for the thigh, and then here's the one for the shin, calf. Again, open end might be here, closed end might be down at the bottom. And you can see I'm tapering some of these cylinders so they're basically kind of cones that are cut off, so I can see the change of thickness because of muscle thickness. And I'll do a similar action for the other leg. I might add on some hint of the trapezius rough cylinder for the neck, and I'll add the head in. And the head, in this case, the head's going to end up going off the top of the page. So I have this. And I could clean it up with an eraser, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep those lines here so you can see how I'm building off the structure rather. And I'm going to start drawing some clothes. And the thing to know about clothes is generally where the joints are, you're going to see more wrinkles, especially if the joints are in fact wrinkled at that point. The other thing to keep in mind with clothes is that because of gravity, where the clothes are laying on top of the body, you're going to see less wrinkles and less slack, less gap between the clothes and the body, and more gap between the clothes and the body on the underside where gravity's pulling some of the excess cloth down. So if I start off with the sleeve, I might show you the hint of the fabric. I'm going to put a hoodie on this person. And you can see the wave of the fabric. And I might add a little bit of thickness on the bottom simply because gravity's pulling the excess cloth down. And in the places where the arm bends, like at the armpit, I might put some extra slack in there. And put those wrinkles. Because the arm is bent, I might show you some additional wrinkles in the fabric there. And while I'm giving you a little bit of waviness to the top of the forearm, on the bottom I might give you a little bit more. And I'll put the hand here at some point, and I'll draw something really kind of perfunctory right now. Do the same thing for the other arm. The hoodie might really hug the trapezius closely as well as the shoulder. And on the top, you might see a little bit of waviness. But on the other side, you might see the hint of excess slack of the clothes, as well as some bunching up in the crease where the joint is. And this might be where the next hand is. And I might be doing something like holding up a mug or something. Torso, I might see a little bit more hugging to the human form on this side. And down here, there might be a bit more slack. Sometimes things like say this is a zippered hoodie, that can add a little bit of information to the viewer about how the clothes are hanging. So, in other words, I might take that and wave it a little bit to show the slack and the waviness in the flow of the clothes. I might show where the zippered hoodie's pockets are, something like that. I might show where the hoodie is separated at the hood line, and I might show this collecting of material at the back for the actual hoodie itself. If I follow the same ideas for the extremities here, the lower extremities, the pant fabric might hug the thigh closer at the top, but underneath you might see a little bit of excess fabric to show the bagginess of the clothes. Here at the knee where it's bending, I will definitely see some wrinkling of the fabric, and I might show some wrinkles where you can see how the looseness of the fabric around the shin goes. These could be jeans or sweats or whatever. And again, follow the same idea for the other leg, where the fabric is pretty close to the meat of the thigh, but underneath I might see some wrinkling, and especially at where the leg is bending. Maybe this person's wearing pajamas and they're at home in quarantine. And even if there's no furniture drawn yet, you can see position of the figure, and you can obviously tell that they are kind of reclining and sitting down. And for those of you who have covered head rotations, I might draw the center axis and the eye line here, as well as the nose and the mouth indicators. So we can see the hint of this person. And if I was so inclined, I could, maybe make this into some sort of couch thing. I'm going to just draw it really lightly. I'm not going to put a lot of attention into it right now because it's really not all that important. And you'll start seeing the hint that this person is at home, relaxing. Okay. I draw a little bit of fabric, a little apron around there. But that would be an example of throwing some clothes on. And then, of course, I could go up and clean things out. Like I might, now that I no longer need it, I could get rid of the spine line. I could get rid of some of the armature lines in here. So it's a little easier to see what we ended up with. I'm drawing dark for the camera, but truly I wouldn't be drawing this dark necessarily. And you start seeing things happen. I might do a little bit of embellishment, like where the torso kind of folds, where the stomach and the rib cage meet. I might throw on a hat on this person, so they might be wearing snapback cap. Yeah. But that's the general direction of clothes. And again, there's a myriad of different solutions here, but this gives you an idea of how to handle fabric on top of figures, whether it's a dress, whether it's a nightgown, whether it's a shorts, where you might see some skin exposed and some of the skin is hidden behind cloth. But that's a basic lesson.